Since guys, Alex, Angelo, welcome to my channel and my page, and I'm very pleased to meet you tonight as well. So today's subject of my video is going to be quite specific because a lot of my followers as well as my clients been asking me lately a lot about the dreams, about the dream world, and about the vivid dreams, sometimes even predictive dreams. There are different types of dreams that we actually can have while we're sleeping, while we're dreaming. So it all depends on the context and the physical as well as the spiritual senses that we get from the dream. So I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna try to do my best in a short way to explain to you what the dreams are, even though there are still kind of scientific and spiritual, arguments going on behind the subject, because this is very deep subject and it's deeply related to our subconscious mind, which is in fact and in general is being called in spirituality as the God zone or the zone of the higher self. So what are the dreams? Well, there are different versions of explaining the dreams nowadays, and one of these options is that which psychology tells us that the dreams are basically the consequences of all the emotional impulses that we had throughout our life or throughout our day, the weeks, or month, and depending on what situations were really emotionally impacting us. And those could be the accumulation of all those emotions in some sort of subconscious image. This is what the psychology says. There is, however, another version according to the Akashic records. If you are known to the subject, if not, then you can actually Google and read about the Akashic records. It is a very interesting kind of sense of life where certain things in your life have already been kind of written down and prepared for you, and now we're just in our journey, in our lively journey, in order to be able to overcome the obstacles that the Akashic record kind of put on our path, or our karmic kind of path from our previous life experiences. Like, there are different versions around the subject in general. But however, the Akashic records can tell us that um, dreams that we can see may also be the cause of the parallel dimensions where actually we do really exist. Because, a lot of times, even including myself, I've heard people talking about them being to places in their dreams and over and over again to the same places, which is really weird, and seeing different kind of people and remembering their face features even though they are 100% convinced and sure that they have not seen those people in this life, which actually from the spiritual perspective can be explainable in terms of that. Again, if while we're sleeping, and the sleep is considered a short term of death in the spiritual aspect, right? So our soul leaves our spirit, our physical body, and actually takes this trip to the parallel dimension where we also exist. So that's one of the, by the way, beautiful aspects of the Akashic records, because according to the Akashic records, we all have different kinds of life paths, out of which our soul decides to soul and decides to choose and experience that life path. So again, coming back to the subject of the dreams, according to the Akashic records, every time when we sleep, we basically just take a trip to the parallel dimensions. Our soul takes a trip, and when we come back, when we just wake up, we come back. Our soul comes back into our body, and we just basically continue our existence on this current reality. But at the same time, throughout all my kind of um, discoveries that I've been reading a lot about the sense of the spirituality, the dreams, and the abilities of subconscious mind, tarot, astrology, because this all actually comes from the same very big ocean called subconscious, right? These are all just kind of certain rivers coming from the same ocean, because astrology is deeply related to psychology, psychology is deeply related to tarot, tarot is deeply related to spirituality, spirituality deeply related to intuition, intuition is deeply related to our subconscious mind eventually. So according to one of the versions is that it could be our karmic past life uh, scenes that we see in our dreams, to the places that we've never been before, but now we see those places and they're completely different, and or to the countries that you've never been before, to the places that you've never been before, but in your dream it's so vividly, so realistically feels like you're in those places. So according to one of the options of the spirituality, it could be also your past life karmic connections or karmic journeys that reminds you of that. But usually if that happens, then it is kind of some sort of a little very secondary short term of error in the system. So what happens is that if we take a look at the sense of the being as the sense of the energy, right? Physical, spiritual, astral, like our physical bodies one day will be gone, but again, the energy within, which is considered our soul, will still have this sense of being and will probably be transformed into some sort of other form, depending again on our previous karmic lessons that we had to learn on this earth so that we can improve ourselves and just advance to the next level. So by saying that, I mean like the dreams can also be the messengers of the parallel worlds or the parallel dimensions, the messengers of our own subconscious mind, which is deeply related to our intuition, trying to tell us or trying to warn us about something. So there are different kind of, I would say, cultural traditions, how different cultures, Eastern, Western, Northern, Southern, interpret the dreams. But the place where I come from, which is the Eastern Europe mainly, so basically there, when there's a belief system that if you see bad dreams, if you see negative dreams related to death, to blood, to violence, then it should usually be interpreted as the opposite of it, which is actually means a good dream. For example, if you see someone dying in your dreams, it means that that person's going to be living a long and happy life. Why it happens? Again, going back to one of the versions of the ancient belief systems, that because the dreams are considered also the kind of the consequences or the scene of the parallel world. So whatever is happening in the parallel world should be interpreted into our world as the opposite. So let's say that, uh, just an example, like in one of the passes in one of the parallel worlds that we exist, right? We get into the car crash and we die. Just an example of that. Or just, something unpleasant happens. So it means that there probably our mission of the soul wasn't completed, which means that there's another reality where we're still here and we're trying to complete that mission. So it's like this is a good way of looking at it and quite optimistic way of looking at it if you decide to just, kind of more given into this belief system of the spirituality, because it does not restrict you on being only one life, and just if you fail to pass your karmic lessons or karmic the tasks, then that's it, it's over. No, why should it be over? Even if we play the computer games, which might be a part of the human subconscious mind, right? Usually where the heroes go and decide to fight against the bad guys or bad people, they have multiple lives. So this kind of system, belief system, this kind of view should be taken from somewhere. Why don't we probably consider that there's only one life, right? Well, maybe a lot of us do, but at the same time, if we take a look at the computer games, which are actually very amazingly generated nowadays, right? And see their progress, why cannot we understand that? The idea that was put into those games, the places and the imagination of the creator that he imagined in those beautiful games that have almost nothing to do with the reality, but also has very little to differ from the reality. It all should come from some sort of energetic and deep source, which is the subconscious mind. And that could be actually a possibility that the image that the person, the creator in those video games saw could have been an experience of their previous life or parallel dimensions. Again, it may sound to some of us crazy, but at the same time, considering that the human subconscious is capable of doing different processes, even the most unbelievable, and considering that we only use only about between the 8 to 13% of our brain, and we're still not capable of finding out what the other percentage of our brain is capable of, right? So This is, of course, very deep subject, and it can go on all hours and hours and hours again. But what I'm trying to say is this: the dreams is definitely just have something to do with our spiritual world, with our karmic, probably past, or the Akashic records, whereas one of your parallel existence and beings. And when we see those dreams, it's like error in the system that shouldn't happen, but that happens sometimes, right? In any kind of system, like error in the matrix, in other words to say. Now, when it comes to the vivid dreams and the dreams that we can actually see and then we experience them coming true, those are actually called the predictive dreams. And those predictive dreams are actually usually tend to happen to very little number of people, but at the same time, those people might and should have very strong intuition in order to be able to kind of sense the situation on such a deeply intuitive level that even the intuition is being able to send and transcend it into the images that comes in the form of the dreams.